An ancient Chinese fable tells the story of an overworked servant who compares himself to two birds, the rooster and the snow goose. The rooster embodies every virtue. It is civil, strong, courageous, and perfectly reliable in keeping time through the night. The snow goose, meanwhile, has absolutely no virtues at all. It simply flies from place to place, stealing millet from the garden. The fates of these two birds reveal a strange contradiction. The highly virtuous rooster is slaughtered to fill a dinner dish, precisely because it is always within reach. The useless snow goose, flying thousands of miles away, is highly prized purely for its rarity. We see this exact dynamic constantly in modern life. The employee who answers every email within seconds finds their labor expected, not rewarded. The friend who drops everything to be available is treated as a backup option. The partner who smothers their significant other with relentless attention ends up pushing them away. We intuitively assume that offering constant reliability will earn us loyalty, but human nature operates differently. Constant availability guarantees you will be taken for granted. Familiarity reliably breeds human contempt. Look at this graph plotting visibility on the horizontal axis against perceived value on the vertical axis. It visualizes a strict behavioral law. Excessive circulation drives your price down. As visibility pushes past a certain threshold, the value line plummets. The more you are seen and heard from, the more common you appear. You cease to be an individual and become a habit, a guaranteed, predictable commodity. To be truly valued, you have to break this cycle. You must actively transition from being a reliable fixture to engineering strategic absence. The science of economics relies entirely on the law of physical scarcity. In 17th century Holland, the upper classes decided to turn the tulip into a status symbol. By fiercely restricting the supply and making the flower almost impossible to obtain, they mathematically forced the price up, triggering a massive market bubble where a single bulb cost more than gold. The 20th century art dealer Joseph Duveen applied this exact principle to high society art dealing. He bought up entire collections of paintings and deliberately locked them away in his basement, ensuring they were incredibly difficult to acquire. By artificially withdrawing a commodity from the market, you instantly manufacture an irrational aura of extreme value around it. The object becomes a fetish. If this perfectly manipulates financial markets and physical goods, why do we fail to apply this exact same manipulation to our own human presence? In the Middle Ages, the troubadour Sir Guillaume roamed the south of France and fell in love with a noblewoman named Lady Guillaume. Wanting to experience the intense passion of a dramatic reconciliation, he executed a deliberate plot. He abruptly feigned anger, stopped writing letters, and vanished from the castle. His fake absence worked perfectly at first. Removing the physical person leaves an empty vacuum. The abandoned partner's imagination is forced to work overtime to fill that space, generating self-blame and idealized longing. Guillaume's affection spiked, and she began frantically pursuing him. Then Guillaume made a critical error. Unnerved by her pursuit, he returned too quickly. He suffocated her with his aggressive attention and demanded reconciliation, completely ruining the illusion he had built. The 17th century courtesan Ninon de l'Enclos summarized the mechanics of this failure perfectly. Human desire does not die of starvation, it dies of indigestion from overexposure. Scaling this concept from interpersonal romance to political power yields staggering results. In ancient Media, a man named Diocles built immense public value by serving as an impeccably fair, constantly available village judge. He handled every local dispute, becoming the most relied upon figure in the region. Then, at the absolute peak of his influence, Diocles abruptly resigned. He claimed he needed to tend to his own affairs. Without their trusted arbiter, the sudden vacuum of authority plunged the entire country into lawlessness. Desperate, the Medes begged him to return as their king. Diocles agreed, but under strict conditions. He ordered an enormous walled palace constructed in the center of the capital. Once inside, he made himself entirely inaccessible to the public. By mastering the architecture of absence, Diocles altered how his people perceived him. He transitioned from a respected, overworked public servant into an unquestioned mythological god who ruled securely for over 50 years. There is a mandatory prerequisite to the law of scarcity. You cannot withdraw if you do not exist in the public consciousness first. If you attempt to pull back before your reputation is firmly established, your absence will not trigger anyone's imagination. You will simply be permanently forgotten. You must achieve a state of omnipresence, being widely seen, appreciated, and relied upon, before you possess the required currency to disappear. Napoleon recognized this balance perfectly, noting that if he was seen at the theater too often, people would cease to notice him. True scarcity is mathematically impossible to manufacture without a prior state of overwhelming abundance. The ultimate tactic here is to weaponize your absence. You force people to respect your value by introducing the genuine threat that they might lose your presence permanently. Modern masters achieve cult-like immortal status by pinpointing the exact moment to step away. Figures like the film actress Greta Garbo chose to permanently retire at the height of her career, leaving the public starving for more. By engineering a temporary death before death, you force others to feel the sharp regret of your absence. When you do return, you arrive with the awe and authority of a resurrection.